In many ways, the good thing is COVID has exposed all the things that we need to do better. I mean, we think about the gender violence as something that's been around. We think of the unemployment. Our social protection in South Africa is absolutely one of the best in the world. But can we keep it going, And I think we're looking beyond, beyond when we have the vaccine and move on, and using also some of what we've learned in Africa. It probably happened about 1978. At the time, I was employed in the Institute of Social Research at the University of Natal, then Natal. And the director, Lawrence Schlemmer, I would say he was the pioneer in quality of life research at the time. He came into my office with 2 books, and they were the 2 classics at the time, one by Andrews and Withy, the other by Campbell and his colleagues. And they outlined, it was in those days, they outlined the whole way, the approach that they were looking at quality of life in the US. Lawrence just asked me, he said, "Will you have a look at this and tell me about it next week?" So I took the 2 books home and I read both of them. It must have been over the weekend. I was absolutely captivated. And he said, "I think we should be doing quality of life research in South Africa." We'd always been based in South Africa, and for this book, The Pursuit of Happiness, The Untold, we started a project together with Nigerian colleagues, and we were looking at various indices of happiness. Ed Diener's, the Cantrill, we redid the original Cantrill study with the preliminary. We used the same wording, we used the same code book, the same way of presenting the report along. And that study was, I think this is a message for new quality of life researchers. The study was so well done that it could be done in all these 13 countries. And then how many years later, 60, 40, about 50 years later, maybe it's even 60 years later, we could use the same survey instrument and it worked perfectly. Well, compared to international, in South Africa, we found that material factors are very important. And it isn't the material as such, it's the dignity that goes with them, because now you're no longer a second-class citizen in your country. Well, that goes back to about 94. And now we've moved on, that we want to achieve what other countries have achieved. So we want choice, to be able to structure our lives, to move on, and to realize our aspirations and expectations. And the government is in a position to look into policy that will make it possible to get ahead economically, so say our unemployment. A striking thing is that one of the factors we found is looking at the best and the worst times of life. Best times of life, jobs are very important, but they're mainly important for earning income. We don't look at intrinsic job satisfaction, say, I love my job sort of thing. I'm just glad I have a job and I want to do better. So there are a lot of things lacking, and we're still in catch-up mode in South Africa. We've got to go back to the basics. And I think environmental quality of life is on the cards. Our big problems in South Africa are just finding jobs for young people so that they see a future for themselves. So it will be the economy and employment, and that will go back to the basics also in education. That's just coming in South Africa, but worldwide, I think one should also pursue what is expected of democracy along the Afrobarometer lines. In many ways, the good thing is COVID has exposed all the things that we need to do better. I mean, we think about the gender violence as something that's been around. We think of the unemployment, and we think of giving so many sectors in South Africa that feed into being able to pay. Our social protection in South Africa is absolutely one of the best in the world. But can we keep it going, So looking to the future, I think the post-future world is so important that we do some of the things that we've neglected. I mean, if you hear what people would like to have, the world working together, thinking of our planet, I mean, picking up with Greta Thunberg, you know, with the green economy. And I think we're looking beyond, you know, beyond when we have the vaccine and move on, and using also some of what we've learned in Africa. There'll be a lot of evaluation of how different parts of the world fared during COVID and how they coped. And you're mentioning the resilience, our African resilience. We've overcome Ebola, where they used the vaccines from the epidemic in West Africa. They were able to use in the DRC, and then being declared, you know, Ebola free, and at the same time having a malaria epidemic. I mean, people don't realize how many strengths we have. You can say quality of life research is being covered by different groups, the economists mainly, and the other social scientists. I think the research is multidisciplinary research and also multi-methods research. The results that our future researchers should have, they should have a fingertip feel for this, so they should know what these indicators that they use, the indexes, actually mean. It shouldn't just be a hunch, looking at other parts of the world, what these indicators or indices mean. So I think here we're still privileged that we can still talk to the people.